Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. So today we're going to take a look into the law on non-Saudis ownership of real estate that was issued on July 25th. So as many of you know, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is opening up a huge real estate market for the foreigners, which is revolutionary, which is amazing. It's a big number of beautiful opportunities to move to Saudi Arabia or invest into the real estate into real estate of Saudi Arabia. And here we are taking a look into this law. This law was published on July 25th. The king himself issued a decree where he commanded to open the real estate market for the foreigners. It was published in the Arabic language, but I translated this law into English, and in this video, inshallah, we're going to go through this law one article after another just to see what it's all about. In this law, we will find out what are the requirements to own the real estate in Saudi Arabia, and many other useful information that will be very helpful before we get into the real estate of Saudi Arabia. And before we get into this video, before we go into the details of this video, I highly recommend you to subscribe to these channels that I'm leading, because on these channels, inshallah, you will find the exclusive information you won't find anywhere else. Why is it so? Because first of all, I've been living and studying in Saudi Arabia for the last 6 years. I speak fluently both Arabic and English. I get all this exclusive information. In the future, inshallah, I'm planning to go to all these real estate units and actually make a video so you can see what's on the market. There's going to be so many things that nobody else is able to do, just because they are either outside of Saudi Arabia or maybe just that they just don't speak the language. And many of you perhaps know me as a studying Saudi Arabia guy. I've been doing the same thing I'm doing right now in the real estate. I've been doing the same thing in the educational field of Saudi Arabia. So thousands and thousands I've guided them through the application process, how to apply to Saudi universities. Many of them are currently studying in Saudi Arabia, and my channel is by far the biggest channel when it comes to the study in Saudi Arabia amongst the English-speaking audience. So I'm going to be doing the same, inshallah, in English, but in the real estate field. So if you're actually interested in the real estate of Saudi Arabia, feel free to subscribe to these channels and you will get a lot of exclusive information, inshallah. Okay, now let's get started with the law on Saudi's ownership of real estate. Article number 1. The following terms. So it starts with the terms. What does law mean? Regulations. Authority that's responsible for the real estate of the kingdom, which is General Real Estate Authority. Then they explain what does it mean, non-Saudi. First of all, it means a natural person who doesn't hold Saudi citizenship. A natural person means human being. A human being who doesn't hold Saudi citizenship that's what's meant by a non-Saudi. Secondly, it's a non-Saudi company. Thirdly, it's a non-Saudi non-profit entity. And fourthly, any other non-Saudi legal entity specified by a decision of the Council of Ministers. Perhaps you're just falling into the first or the second category. You're either just a human being who doesn't hold Saudi citizenship, or maybe you are somebody who is owning a company in Saudi Arabia. Okay, let's get to the article number 2, paragraph number 1. A non-Saudi may own real estate or acquire other real rights over real estate in the kingdom within the geographical scope determined by the Council of Ministers as per paragraph 2 of this article. What does it mean? Well, first of all, real rights. What does it mean, real rights? It means ownership. It means leasing. It means usufruct. So basically, if you want to own, let's say just as an example, own a real estate in Saudi Arabia, you can do so within the geographical scope. So in the future, by now it hasn't been done, but in the future, in the nearest future, inshallah, within the next 6 months, all the areas of each city, such as Jeddah, Riyadh, Mecca and Medina with certain conditions, they're going to create these maps, and you will see on these maps which districts and areas are available for the foreigners to own real estate. So this is what the third paragraph is. It means that you won't be able to buy any real estate in the whole Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. No, there's going to be particular geographical scopes where you will be able to do so. Secondly, Or the paragraph number 2. A decision by the Council of Ministers based, etc., etc., shall specify the following. So within the next 6 months, they will specify the following. The geographical scope where non-Saudis may own real estate or acquire real rights. The types of real rights that non-Saudi may acquire. Again, is it ownership? Is it usufruct? Is it leasing, etc.? It's going to be all specified. The maximum ownership percentages permitted for non-Saudis in the designated area. It means that there's going to be certain areas where you will be able to purchase real estate, but that area is not going to be owned 100% by foreigners. For example, they will be obligated to sell their property, 50% of their property, for example, to Saudis, and 50%, the remaining 50% is going to be for the foreigners. Again, they're going to specify these limitations in the future, inshallah. But as of now, as far as I've heard, there's going to be certain areas where foreigners will be able only to own 20% of the real estate units, or 30%, or 50%, maybe even 70%, maybe 100%. They will tell us, inshallah. D, the maximum duration for which a non-Saudi may be granted usufruct rights. I'll just give you an example. What does it mean, usufruct rights? Those who have premium residency in Saudi Arabia may get usufruct rights of property in Mecca and Medina for 99 years. After 99 years, that property gets back to the government. So this is just one example. E, any controls related to non-Saudis owning or acquiring real rights to real estate. So this is all going to be specified in the next 6 months by January 2026. The third paragraph says that, I'll just tell you, I don't want to read everything. You may read it, you might read it in your spare time. Basically, the third paragraph is about those who hold residency in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They are eligible to own one residential property outside their designated geographical scope, except in the cities of Mecca and Medina. It's been introduced. It was introduced in 2019. Basically, if you come to Saudi Arabia and you have a residency over here, you're working for some company, you are allowed to purchase one residential unit in the city where you are employed. So basically, they're saying that they still have these rights. This new law doesn't take away from their right to own one residential property where they work, except for Mecca and Medina. And the fourth paragraph is basically saying that, I'm going to read it. Ownership of real estate or acquisition of real rights in Mecca and Medina is limited to natural persons who are Muslims. As you know, Mecca and Medina are meant for Muslims. These are the cities where people go to worship Allah alone. And this is why they keep it this way, that these two cities, they are only for Muslims, and only Muslims can purchase real estate in Mecca and Medina. Article number 3. A non-listed company, okay. Article number 2 was all about just regular people, like you and me probably. But the article number 3 is about companies that are not listed. Not listed meaning that they don't trade on the stock market of Saudi Arabia. Let's say somebody owns a company. There's plenty of people that own a company in Saudi Arabia. So this article is about them, what they are entitled to. They may own real estate or acquire real rights in the geographical scope, just like other people, including Mecca and Medina. Such a company may also own or acquire real rights required for conducting its activities and housing its employees. So again, it's the same. It's been the same for a while. Saudi companies, meaning that the companies that were registered in Saudi Arabia to have their business activity, they had this right. They could purchase real estate for their employees or for their activity. It's not something new. And article number 4 is about the listed companies, meaning that those companies that trade on the stock market. Let's just skip it. I don't think it's going to be relevant for us. Article number 5. This law doesn't prejudice the provisions of the premium residency law, meaning that this law doesn't take away from the rights of those who hold premium residency law. And it doesn't infringe on their rights. Article number 6 is about, again, the ownership of real estate or acquisition of real rights by a non-Saudi doesn't confer any privileges or entitlements beyond what's legally established for a right holder. Meaning that if you, let's say you bought a real estate unit, you got a nice apartment or a villa that cost, let's say, 1,000,000 or 500,000 riyals. Some people might think that, oh, okay, now I can stay here, get a residence. You know, you only get the ownership and that's it. Still, you have to get a visa. Still, you're not eligible to get residency. You are eligible to get premium residency if you buy a real estate that's worth 4 million riyals, but this is a different story. The video is not about it. Article number 7, on the basis of, okay, article number 7 is also not that relevant for us. It's about diplomatic missions. It's not that interesting for us. Let's get to the article number 8. A non-Saudi company, non-Saudi non-profit entity or other legal entity defined must register with the relevant authority prior to acquiring real estate or real rights in the kingdom. So basically they're going to be, before they purchase any real estate, they will need to register with the relevant authority prior to acquiring real estate. Even ordinary people, before they purchase real estate in Saudi Arabia, they will need to get this ID number. So they will need to register with the relevant authority prior to acquiring real estate or real rights in the kingdom. This is something that I will talk in length, inshallah, in the next video, because they published this draft executive regulations about how the real estate is going to be purchased, all the mechanisms. So inshallah I'm going to talk about it in more details, inshallah, in the next video. But basically, yes, before you purchase any real estate, you will need to register with the relevant authority. The ownership or acquisition of real rights by a non-Saudi becomes valid only upon registration in the real estate registry in accordance with the applicable laws. Article number 9. Without prejudice to any legally prescribed taxes or fees, the authority shall collect a fee not exceeding 5% of the value of the real right disposed of by a non-Saudi in the kingdom. What does it mean? Yeah, let me just explain, do a little bit of a sharh. So it means that, let's say you own a residential unit or commercial unit. So basically when you sell it, you will need to pay a tax that doesn't exceed 5%. So you'll need to pay a tax that doesn't exceed 5% of the value of the real right. And again, I will talk about it in length because they issued more details, Allahumma barik, they issued more details about this in the next video, inshallah. I'm going to talk about it in length. But basically, yeah, if you decide to sell something, you own some real right, or maybe you own some real estate unit, if you want to sell it, you will need to pay a certain fee to the government that doesn't exceed 5%. And just to tell you now, it's either 2.5% or there's no fee at all. But anyways, I will talk about it in the next video, inshallah. Article number 10 is about violating the law, that you may face a warning or a fine not exceeding 5% of the value of the real right in question, with a maximum of 10 million Saudi riyals. So article number 10 is about basically about the violations that you should avoid. Article number 11 is kind of the same. It's about appealing and trying to overthrow the decision that was made. And article number 12 is still about violating the rules. And article number 13, you can read obviously all of this in your free time. I don't think it's that relevant right now to dwell on these articles. Article number 13 is 180 days from the date of the law's publication in the official gazette. That's what I was talking about. This is the official gazette Al-Qura, Al-Jarida Al-Qura. The Council of Ministers shall issue their regulations based on a proposal from the Authorities Board and approval of the Council of Economic and Development Affairs. The regulations shall specify procedures for non-Saudi to acquire real rights in the kingdom. And you know what? They issued it. It's in this document that I'm going to talk about in length in the next video, inshallah. Requirements applicable to non-resident non-Saudis. Again, they issued it. I'm going to talk about it in the next video, inshallah. The fee rate mentioned in Article 9 based on type of real right, purpose, and location. Again, they did it. I'm going to talk about it in the next video, inshallah. Transactions eligible for zero rate fees, including their conditions and controls. All of it was issued in the in that draft executive regulations that, again, I translated from Arabic into English, and I'm going to talk about it in length in the next video, inshallah. And article number 14, this law basically cancels the law that was published before in like 30 years ago, 20 something years ago, 26 years ago approximately. And article number 15 says that this law shall come into effect in 180 days after its publication in the official Al-Jarida. So this is the law. Again, it just confirms that now the real estate market is opening up. You've got beautiful opportunities. Just within the last 5 or 6 years, the real estate market in Riyadh went up by 82%, almost a double. Just recently, the Ministry of Housing said that in Riyadh alone, they need 130,000 houses every year just to meet the demand. If any of you are dreaming about moving to Mecca and Medina and staying here, again, this is a beautiful opportunity. Imagine you buy even one unit of the real estate and just come to Medina. You have your own housing, and there's a variety of different types of visa that you can get and stay in Medina or Mecca. So this is very beautiful, and I'm gonna keep you updated on all the details through my channels. So don't forget to subscribe to all the channels, inshallah, and you will get a lot of beneficial information, inshallah. So see you in the next video. The next video is going to be about the draft executive regulations. I will talk about it in length, and you will get even more beneficial information in the next video than this video, inshallah. So see you in the next video.